It's a pleasure to be here in front of you today. I want to, first of all, I'm not going to follow the protocol, so don't tell on me. Because I know many of you worked in the classrooms with your kids on your projects. This project was actually here last year, the comic book project with the teacher. And we've taken it up a notch because my goal here today is to show you the teacher training and the teacher assessment that goes along with that, because unfortunately I'm hired through a grant, and our grant ends this year. So we're like, what happens after the grant goes away? How can this still move forward? And you know, we wrote a new grant, but you know, who knows if it's going to get funded. So our goal this year was to really put this online and out to everyone around the world, not just the state, because we do believe that arts education is very important, and the venue of comic books in the classroom really helps the classroom teacher integrate visual art, and not only visual art, but also storytelling and creative movement and a lot of things that you're going to hear today. So if you look at your folder that I have for you, this is the teacher that we've been talking about, Anthony Arevalo, and he's the lead teacher. He's been in the comic book project for 3 years, and he and I have created this website. We're also enrolled in the Integrated Teaching Through the Arts program through Leslie University. Both of us, this will be my second master's, because I was just like, oh my God, I was so excited. If I had known about Leslie before, I wouldn't have done the other thing. But we're in the program, and we've taken what we've learned and also created, we put what we know on the website, and there's still more to come. And so USA Experience is our website, and that's where any teacher can go to get trained on the comic book project, but then also on how to integrate the different components of Leslie University, and I'll go through that in a little bit. But let me start with who we are and what we do. So this is the comic experience. Anthony Arevalo is a 5th grade teacher at Finley Elementary School. In his classroom, he has 32 students. 11 are advanced, 21 are proficient. 9 boys and 23 girls in this classroom. He has 12 English learners and 2 that are newly from Mexico. They do not speak any English at all. 3 gifted and talented education, and 1 who goes to speech. The district is Hopeville Unified School District. It's an agricultural district, and so we have a lot of migrant students. Finley Elementary, 5th grade. Lower socioeconomic. Last year, printed in the Washington Post, we are the lowest on the totem pole of unemployment, or actually highest unemployment rate in the nation. Last year, we had the 7.2 earthquake that closed our sorry, I thought I could talk louder than that. Last year we had the 7.2 earthquake during Easter, and so many of our schools were impacted, not as much as one school district, but then also many of our students' lives were disrupted by the earthquake. It was a disaster, especially with lower socioeconomic strata. Parents didn't have the means to send their kids to school, yet Anthony had perfect attendance because of visual arts, I feel. Dominant Hispanic population. We have 43% in our county of Spanish speakers. The challenges, time, money, but the biggest one of all is perspective. That's why Anthony is not here today. The standards for the comic book project with just this classroom was language arts, social studies, and visual arts. the impact that it had on students, the integrated arts, social studies, and language arts, it all was culminated into one project. That's how he fitted in his day. The project motivated students to participate and learn. Both right and left hemispheres of the brain were used. And the most important concept is that the students used the highest level of Bloom's revised taxonomy, which is creativity. And so not only were they going beyond, but critical thinking was embedded into the classroom. And then students planned, revised, and edited a complete work of art. A complete work of art integrated with writing and publishing, so the narrative process, and then also storytelling, because of at our comic book showcase, they told their stories to their parents. It was a magical day. These are our websites. We got an A&U grant through the California High Speed Network and Imperial County Office of Education. The Brokers of Expertise is one of the resources that we have online where teachers can go in, and it's a professional learning community, so you can upload work from your kids. You can see, right now we have 10 teachers piloting it throughout the state. You go to usaproject.org, the USA Project, that's how you log in, and then on there you can go through the modules and the activity booklets. Unfortunately, what happened when we're still in the process of doing this, is that through the county we had to have the technology person, and then we had the teachers creating these modules, and it just took time because the technology person didn't have the curriculum knowledge to know that that assessment went with that module, and they just got confused. So we just went ahead and did our own website. And so the teachers that are piloting the Brokers of Expertise, they're actually using our website more because it's very user-friendly. But BOE is run by the California Department of the State, and so everything on there is on our website too. We have the intellectual rights, so we took it and made it our own. So for teachers, this is what you do. You go on the website, you click Get Trained. The comic book project is in 3 parts. Anthony rewrote the whole project for downloadable materials that will be free to all the teachers in whoever downloads it. And so each module, there's 3 parts. The first one is the sloppy copy, then the rough draft, and then the final copy. On the modules, you click on it, and he's actually leading you through examples, PowerPoints, things that work in his classroom management skills. They're all on there, and you just click. And so the first module has 3 parts, and they're only 15 minutes long each part because we had to go through YouTube, and it cuts off at 15 minutes. So, and then you click on the lesson plan, and there's lesson plans there from kinder through 12th grade. And then for teacher assessment, because that's kind of a missing link. We're always assessing students, and teachers want to know how they did on that module. So we click on assessment, and it takes you to SurveyMonkey, and then it gives you like probably 5 questions about the module, and then it has you reflect on the module, and it gives us feedback, and we're constantly looking at them to see what we can make better or what we can make clearer. And even on the reflection, if you're like, I need a lesson plan for 3rd grade, and I don't know how to do this with 3rd grade. Well, then we respond to you, and we'll put a link on there where you can get that. So it's a work in progress. So this is the 3 parts of the comic book project, the comic experience. Then you go to integrated arts. And this is where Leslie University has really taught me as an educator, as an administrator, how important it is to bring in the arts through different venues, through movement, through theater, through dance, through visual art. And it really helped me solidify why arts are important. And so what you'll see here is we have to have the standards, of course. So you'll have, if you don't, for a teacher, you all are art teachers here. So a teacher who, not very comfortable with art, he only teaches social studies, he can get trained on the California Visual and Performing Arts. The 4 disciplines, the 5 component strands, it's all there. Then if you want just a lesson on sequential art, how to draw sequential art for the comic book, you click on sequential art. One of the other teachers in our master's program is a visual artist teacher. So he is the one that you will see on sequential art and visual arts. He teaches you how to draw sequentially, how to draw comic book heroes. So you'll learn that. Then you click on movement, and Anthony comes back and shows you how to tie movement into the comic book project. So for example, students would get together to create a scene in a group, like, I need you, we're pilgrims and we're landing on Plymouth Rock, and what is that going to look like when I get off the boat? So kids are actually posing in their different ways, and then another student is contour drawing what they just did. And so not only do they know the curriculum because they're moving to it, but now you're bringing in all of the arts together. Then you go to technology, and the first presentation that you saw, it's on Prezi, and we learned that from our technology class through Leslie University. Never knew how to do it in my whole life, never heard of it, and it's pretty cool.
What is it?
It's Prezi. That was the first presentation when it was moving in and out. So Prezi.com, and it's free for teachers. And Anthony actually had his students in 5th grade create Prezis based on their comic books. So it's Prezi, Prezi.com. And so the kids did create Prezis on the information of their comic books. Then you move into storytelling, and Anthony gives you many examples of storytelling, but then also giving students proper etiquette in speaking. So listening and speaking for your CELT kids, your students who are intermediate, advanced and proficient, early advanced and advanced. Those are the ones who usually get stuck. They get stuck in intermediate. With the storytelling component, you push those kids out of there. And it really builds confidence and builds them to be speakers. And then visual art, and then the last one you can't see because I had to take the picture of the screen because we don't have internet here. It's culture and equity, which was our first class, and it's building community in your classroom, and it's building, having equitable access to all learners in your classroom. And so that's a really powerful one that works on bringing in thinking maps and things like that. Just, we know that work, but sometimes we're reminded, or that one looks really cool, I want to try it with my kids. And then for each module, again, you have lesson plans and you have an assessment. Kids can do this. We've had some students just get on there because they wanted to get trained. The friend is doing it and I want to do it. So they've gotten on our website and just went to town. Here is the 3 different versions, and in your folder, we gave you just the first 2 pages or 3 pages. Or did we give you the whole thing? Oh, you have the whole thing. Okay, so here's the sloppy copy. This is what the materials look like when you download them. And with the lesson plan, it teaches you how to do this one in your classroom, how to do this one in your classroom. And as you can see, we have dialogue, onomatopoeia, we have building backgrounds. Our kinder kids were doing onomatopoeia, and they loved it. And looking at perspective, kinder through 12th grade, that's our project, and they were doing it. After that, then you have the lesson plans on how to integrate that into your classroom. So, next year, when we get the grant, we're really going to focus on bringing history teachers in and science teachers in, because this is a really powerful, they know the material enough to create a graphic novel out of it. Okay, so then you would have the rough draft, and then you have the final copy. Unfortunately, with Anthony recreating it, their final copy is their final copy. However, the comicbookproject.org, which is what the Center for Educational Pathways, they're a nonprofit organization that partners with Dark Horse. And you can buy the Dark Horse materials that look like this, and then, because the ones that you see here, the examples, they're Dark Horse. Because it says Dark Horse, the kids use the materials, they're published authors. So with our project, the first 3 years, all these that you see, they're published authors. In kindergarten, now for their college resume, they can put, I am a published author, because Dark Horse published them. And because we're using the materials, they've given the right to have them published. So it's wonderful. And the website for that is comicbookproject.org. And so if you want your students to be published authors and you don't want to use the free materials, then you would go there, and I believe it's $4 per student. But we feel so strongly that this project is powerful that we've recreated them for you so that you can download them for free. And then, you can interchange and use the sloppy copy with your first draft of the comic book project and pick and choose what you want to use.
Was that comicbook.org?
Comicbookproject.org. And the purple one, may I borrow this? Every year, the teachers choose their 5 best. We send them to Dark Horse, and then they create a colored anthology for us. And so these students were the ones chosen out of, we had 900 comics this year. So these are the ones that were chosen to be in this year's anthology. However, 900 kids in our Imperial County, the highest unemployment rate, they're authors. And so I think that's pretty powerful. Any questions before I move on? Yes?
Is Dark Horse a publishing?
Yes, they're like Marvel.
Comic books? Or is that what
Yes,
it is?
Dark Horse creates Superman the comic, and the Fantastic Four. So it's like Marvel Comics, DC Comics. Yes?
So I came in late, and I apologize, but how long did you say the project goes for? And then if you don't have extra materials, are these materials downloadable, is what you're saying?
Yes, these are all downloadable from our website.
Okay, so you don't have any answers, do you?
I will look once we leave. I might. Ceci, would you look in the folder? We'll look right now.
Okay, but you said how long is the project?
Okay, the project is, it takes 45 minutes for 17 sessions.
17 sessions.
Some teachers were doing it every Friday. They had Comic Book Friday. Some teachers, especially high school, they only had a certain time with certain kids, so they did 45 minutes a day, and it took about 3 weeks. The kids go to town. They love it.
Imagine.
And so the only important thing was that you front load the curriculum first so that they can create it. And wow, what a novel idea, front loading the curriculum. And so they had that knowledge, and then they took off. But most teachers, it took them probably about 3 months because they were doing it every Friday or here and there. But when they do get down to their rough draft, it does take them more time because you want it to come out good. And time is a gift to your students when you're working on this project. You want the storyline to be good, the narrative, but then when they're actually working on their published piece, they can't do it overnight. There's no way. So thank you for asking that question. So then also on our website, you click discussion board and you can leave comments. We've had teachers leave comments. We've had students leave. The 2 on top are Anthony's students. One of the teachers, number 16, she's in the project this year, and so she commented on us because she saw this being created. And it's really simple. Add a comment and type it, and it's there. And I think it's magic because I can't even do Facebook, but I can do this.
Wow.
So, and here is the comicbookproject.org Center for Educational Pathways. And on here, Dr. Bitts, who is the founder, he's one of our partners, he hosts the gallery of comic books for free. So if you do this project with your class and you pay for the Dark Horse ones, not only will they be published authors on paper, but they'll be published on the web. So right here, you would go to California, you'd go to Imperial Valley, and this year's aren't up yet because this just came out last week, so they're not up yet. But then you click on that, and then you would see, oh sorry. So when you click on that, you'd have one of the frames from the comic book panel and the kids' names. If you have permission from your district, make sure you have permission to post it on the web, and it would have their name. Or it could just say Mrs. Casey's class, and then just have the different pictures. And then here are the websites: www.icoe.org. My BOE is the one run by the state. USA Experience, that's ours, the one you see right here, and the comicbookproject.org, who hosts our galleries and who partnered with us to make this thing happen. So now I want you to look at the work. So I'm going to pass some around. These are the ones that are laminated. Those are full-on comics from page 1 to the end. Our kinders, you can see, are really short, but they're kindergarten. And so the teachers were very cognizant of grouping them while doing that. We have comic books in the 3 years ranging from learning how to rhyme to Newton's Law for physics. We've had the periodic table. We've had the Salem Witch Trials. We've had the story of Anubis. We had Cal State Fullerton. Our visual art teacher came from there. And so the training was the teachers received 40 hours professional development during the summer. Standards, visual art, sequential art, English language development, and how to integrate all that into the classroom. And then 2 hours each. Each teacher got 2 hours with a visual artist in the classroom. And then I came to help. I coached the comic book project. I coached on character development. I coached on the beginning, middle, and end, helping them develop the beginning, middle, and end for their kids. And then after that, they received follow-up training with Dr. Bitts from the Center of Educational Pathways on the writing process of it. And then we had the visual artists come back in and talk about art evaluation in the classroom. How do you evaluate something like this? And so that assessment helped with our teachers. And then it was the showcase. The teachers had to come to the showcase. So that was our training for the teachers.
So as a university, we don't have lots of additional resources necessarily, but what we do have is a grants department that could help support this. Seeing this and how it's all put together, I'd also love to think with you about ways that we could highlight this work to give you national visibility, and also for us help make the point about the power of arts integrated learning. But for me, sitting here thinking about teachers working in a classroom, partnering with the Department of Ed in the county, partnering with the university, and just sort of the build that it can get is a very powerful way to think about this.
Yes, absolutely, because in our county, when I first started as a visual and performing arts coordinator 4 years ago, we had 16 visual art teachers. We now have 2 in the whole county. So the way art is going to be held up in our county is through the classroom teacher in integrating the arts. So yes.
Have you ever started working with your after-school programs?
The ACES program, yes, definitely. What principals, again, we go back to that perspective that was a challenge. They're worried about that the ACES program, unfortunately, not a lot of certificated teachers are teaching that. They're bringing in college students, and so because it's so rigorous in curriculum, they're very weary about the quality of the work. And ACES just started this year, so we're still working with them. We do have a network for principals in the visual and performing arts. We have 4 administrators that come, and they're the ones that support the arts. So it's really difficult. Perspective is hard in our county. Yes?
It was interesting you said that I run 3 ACES sites in Sonoma County, and we have the privilege also, though, with the after-school program, to have more flexibility in what we do. So things like this can be adapted and changed to meet the needs of our program. So I think there's a whole pool of after-school things that can happen as well. So it's really great to just kind of hear some things.
Yes, and definitely, you know, getting ACES teachers, even if they're college students, go through this training. They're trained, and they'll know how to do it. They would just have to
Not
collect
that we don't have the will, it's we need to give them
the means.
resources to do
Right.
it.
Absolutely.
And throughout the state, there's been an emphasis on professional development, and so a lot of us have connections to the universities to have that professional development. So.
Yes, and I did fail to mention when the comic book project first started 10 years ago, it focused on character development in New York. And through this grant, it was the first time that curriculum was brought to the forefront, because it was all about character building and friendship and bullying. And yes, that's very important, and it's a very good ACES program, it's a very good in-class program. But the county was like, it needs to be curriculum rich, and so that's how we created these partnerships together. And so now I'm also an educational consultant for the comic book project because I feel so strongly about it. And you definitely need to check out Center for Educational Pathways. Not only do they have the comic book project, but they also have the Youth Music Exchange where students create record labels. They have their own record labels, and they create a business plan for selling their songs. And their songs are about what they're learning in the classroom. And right now they're working on a gaming project. So who knows what that's going to look like, but it's really amazing. All right. Okay, so if you have any questions, I'm here today and tomorrow. You can definitely go to the website. And then also just one more little website, if you want to check out ivnewsday.com, ivnewsday.com. We had them come in and they have a recorded story on that website about the comic book showcase. So you can actually see how the work was displayed, how the interaction with students, parents, teachers, educators, and community members. So thank you for being here and enjoy your lunch.